From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. So we got to re-record. So you guys get me 2 times in a row, and I know it's not going to be the same recording, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. I'm assuming that many people out there probably need the information over, so the people I talked to an hour or so ago are not going to be the same people here right now. So guys, I'm Bullhorn Betty, and my download did not download this morning. So we're going to go over all the information that we just went over a second time. So good morning, guys. We are going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers, the 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from Hendersonville, Tennessee, and has not been seen or heard from again. If you are just tuning into this show, I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we just found out that there was a potential sighting of Sebastian Rogers over the weekend in North Carolina. But is it? This has been giving us heavy, there's been a lot of controversy related to this. The poor lady that posted this, she called it into law enforcement. She truly believes that this is Sebastian Rogers, and people attacked her needlessly for posting this and doing the right thing. And I just want to, thank her for what she did, because we as a true crime community always ask that people, if they see something, they say something, they call law enforcement, and after they have reported it to law enforcement, if they would like the rest of the community to know, then to please post it. This person here acknowledged this had already been called into the tip line. So this person is not only taking a picture and putting it on social media to inform the people out there that are desperately looking for Sebastian Rogers, she also reported this to the TBI tip line because she believes that it is true, accurate, and correct, and she did believe that this is Sebastian Rogers. She even went a step further because she was getting, people were saying that she was making this photo up, that this was photoshopped and stuff like that. So she went a step further and literally gave us her metadata. She took a picture of the metadata associated with this particular photo. It's corroborated. This was taken on the day it was taken. This was not an earlier photo. This was taken at the time. This does look and resemble a lot like Sebastian Rogers. And people have said that this lady right here looks a lot like Seth Rogers' sister. I don't necessarily believe that, but there's this lady that was sitting by Seth at one of these searches, and people are saying that this hoodie that she's wearing is the same hoodie that's being seen right here. I'm not sure if that's the case, but either way, this is the photo blown up of the person seen. And when you see it like this, I think there are some clear distinguishing factors that are noticeable why this is not Sebastian Rogers. First is the glasses. These look like more oval glasses than square glasses. His nose is not that of Sebastian Rogers, in my opinion, but this is the most similar feature if you had to ask me. What's making this difficult is the narrowing of the face. This is bone structure issues here, okay? This person here appears to have a more oval face and a more oval chin right here. And that is important because here you can see the clear differences, in my opinion. You see the U-shape chin versus the block chin. I mean, that is a major bone structural feature that's not going to change. You cannot change that. It's not being exhibited here. You're seeing a more oval face here and a more structured square face on the other side. So you've got the square right here. You see that? And then also we talked about the angles. You know, this is an angle, I can tell you, and I feel like a broken record because this is the second time I've said it in the last couple hours, but when I have a friend, okay, and I have two friends, and from a side angle, not this kind of angle, but like literally a side angle, they look like spitting images of each other. And it's they're so identical from the side that when we take photos and they're at an angle, you can't tell which friend it is. However, when you look directly at their face, they look nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing alike. It just happens to be that angle of the camera when it's shot. They look like identical twins. So people had said that the lady looked like Seth's sister. This is Seth's sister. So long story short, this is Seth Rogers' sister. Clearly not the same woman as we are seeing here. Oops, let me get you a better picture here. Obviously a different person. Now, I think Seth is actually coming out and saying he doesn't know who this person is, that this person, he knows who she is, but it's not his sister. I still don't think this person here looks like this person outside of the blonde hair, because in my opinion, this is a much thinner person down here behind Seth than what we're seeing up here. But again, it comes down to the bone structure for me on this kid, and the bone structure, the actual things that we cannot change, do not resemble him. And it really is, for me, the chin. I think the chin in this photo is what is very telling as to whether this is Sebastian or not. Now, there are a few similarities. People are picking up on the shoes. We've seen this photo where he's standing next to the, what is this trophy? This large trophy. And he's wearing these shoes. And people have noticed that those are the same shoes that are seen here in that photo with the lady. Let me see if I can get a bigger. So down here, they're saying these shoes here resemble those that were seen in that photo with the trophy. So again, this is why when you look at, I really think when you look at this, people are focusing on this. I could care less about hair. Hair can be changed. Glasses can be changed. The things I focus on are the spaces between the eyes. The eyes, we can't see that here. So we can't do that. So the eyes color, the nose. This is a much broader nose in my opinion. But when you blow this up, it's the most similar feature in my opinion is his nose, even though they're different. We can't really tell the lips, but these lips look very much smaller because they're on a smaller chin. And his lips seem to be very, very much larger. But again, out of all of this, it comes down to this one key feature right here, and that is the chin. This chin is so much more narrow. And I don't think that any angle would change the fact that he has a much broader chin here. A much broader chin. And that should have been picked up. So in my opinion, his chin should have been kind of down here. And definitely over more. But you don't have it. So these are the reasons why I just don't think it's going to be. But in all fairness, Seth Rogers' PI believes that it is. Believes that this could be Sebastian Rogers. And then, you know, I was talking to my friends. I talk to my mods, I talk to my mom, I talk to my best friend, I talk to a lot of different people about a few different things, right? And I think one of the most notable things that were said to me, and you mothers will know this better than I, okay? If you know anything about my story, I don't have biological children. When I got married, I married into two children, right? And they were adult children. So we were already having grandbabies. My first grandbaby was 6 months old when I met my husband. The other ones are all mine. But even Holly's mine. Holly's my girl. But I don't have my own children, so that, and people dog me and say, like, I don't have the mother. I don't think having a children makes you have a motherly instinct. I think you either got it or don't. That's just my personal. But people dog. You know how social media is. People dog you. And so just for the parents out there, you guys would know better than I, because like everybody likes to point out, I don't have biological children. I have not had a child. My mom believes, and I believe this because I've seen it with my own eyes, I can be like away from my mom in a different place in a different county, and I'll be walking and you'll hear somebody calling my name, and it's my mother, right? She'll know me. I'm the shortest person I know. I'm 5'0", and my mother could see me a mile away. And so people were saying, wait, a mom knows their child. A mom knows whether this is their kid or looks like their kid. They know their child. They know every single angle of their child. A mother has seen every single angle of her child. Every angle, and probably cleaned up some of the most disgusting things coming from some of those angles, right? So a mom knows her kid, and this was pointed out to me because Katie, in her response to whether this was her son, and of course, Katie and Chris's response, once again, not even remotely similar. But she says, thank you. They're working to confirm 100%. Not that he looks like her child, not that she believes her child, that it's her child, nothing. That law enforcement has to be the one that corroborates this information for her. And of course, Christopher, the stepfather, absolutely knows 100% this is not Sebastian. So I don't know how mom doesn't know, but stepdad does. But like a lot of things that go on in this particular case, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. Chris is a very domineering, control freak that likes to push his weight around women. So I don't know. And does he know that this is not Sebastian? And if he's so confident when his own mother isn't as confident, I think the question would be, why? Right? Why? Why is he so confident that this is not Sebastian? Especially when him and his wife are the ones driving the narrative that Sebastian walked out the front door and never returned. So they definitely know that this sighting is absolutely not Sebastian, and they just so happen to leave their home and never come back because they believe their son walked out the door and might come back. I'm not quite understanding all of that. Maybe you guys can make sense of it. I certainly cannot. And I just want to remind people, this is the only live during the day that is 100% sponsored by our subscribers here on TikTok, for our subscribers here on TikTok. So this is the only time that I take questions from just our subscribers here about a particular case. And I just want to tell everybody that's come in, thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. We're going to go over some issues that I have with this, aside from whether or not this sighting could be Sebastian. Many of the people here, like me, have hope and we're praying for a miracle. But I also believe that there are many people like me out here that believe that something more went on, because we do problem solving and critical thinking and things like that, and something isn't meshing well with us. It's not right for us, right? And so we have a lot of questions and we want to find answers, because let's face it, many of you guys have your own autistic children or children that have some type of disability or are on the spectrum. So you really kind of put yourselves in these shoes. And it's very difficult emotionally for you guys, especially when you have parents that just seem like they don't care, and you look at your own child and are like, I could never hurt a hair on my child's head. And you look at these parents and you see them out motorcycle shopping, it's gotta freaking unnerve you. And so, I may not be a mother, and I may not have my own children, but I can tell you it makes me equally as angry. I have grandchildren, and I can't imagine anything happening to them. And am I their biological grandmother? Hell to the no. But you know what? If something happened to them or they were gone, I would be the first one out there raising the roof. Not the second, not the third. I'd be jumping over mama and grandpa. And so I don't even get this case, even with the in-laws and like the Bowersocks and Kathy and her husband, which are Chris Proudfoot's mom and stepfather. Like, they don't even act normal. They're running off to every place imaginable. Think about it. Where are they going? They're going to Alaska. They're going to other exotic places. So we've got the Bowersocks running off. We've got the Proudfoots running off. The only people that are really helping are the people that don't even know this family and Seth and his family. Other than that, you can kiss that whole side of the family. The ones that actually took care of Sebastian, kiss them goodbye, because you can't even get them to stay home. You can't even get the Sons of a Guns to stay home. Then and forget them answering any questions. I mean, Web Sleuth is a prime example. Look at Chris's demeanor. How many people went over to YouTube and watched that interview on Web Sleuth? If you guys, well, some of you guys can't because you guys aren't subscribers, but I would say put a 1 in the chat. You know who you are. If you guys haven't, go over to Web Sleuth on YouTube, write it in. It's all one word, Web Sleuth, and go look at the interview where it says PI, are welcomed or whatever. It's like 3 or 4 in now, maybe 5 videos in now. And actually, I'll show you what the cover looks like if I still have it. I deleted a bunch of stuff off of here, but I might still have that. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Up. Syncing the recent pictures. There it is. So this is Web Sleuth. This is the thumbnail you're looking for, and this is what it says. Well, we welcome the private investigators for the case of missing Sebastian Rogers. Chris Proudfoot called in on this show. It was about the PIs talking about the case, and Chris could not control himself and literally called into the show. And not only did he call into the show, he sounded like he was under the influence of something, either alcohol or substances. And this man was angry. Holy smokes. Chris Proudfoot showed a different demeanor than many people. If you don't believe me, go back. I did some videos on it. Just embodying the anger and how Chris Proudfoot were talking to this panel of women. I was mortified. Like, I'm sorry. You guys know I'm blunt. Can you imagine that man talking to me like that? Like, I'm just one of those people that's like, listen, we can have this, we can do this interview this way. I'll let him, right? I'll be like, dude, we can do this interview this way. I'm just letting you know, but don't be offended when I start acting like you. Or we could take it down a notch and talk to each other in a civilized manner, right? He was not being civilized. He was being domineering, and he wouldn't answer any questions. Yet he's the one that holds all the questions to everything. That's another thing. He kept putting them down for them. I understand you don't really know what's going on. I have all the information. And he kept putting himself even in front of Katie. Like, I have all the information, and Katie. Oh, and Seth has some too. But he has to feel like he holds everything. And it didn't dawn on me, guys. And this is something that we didn't talk about in this morning's show. So it might be a good thing that I had to re-record this, right? One of the issues that I had is, why is he so angry? And he's so appreciative of law enforcement not being able to solve his case. And he's so understanding about how law enforcement is just eager to get on to the next missing child. This was all displayed in this interview. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. You guys need to get over to YouTube. and watch it. And so one of the things that I took away from that is how he's not really concerned with law enforcement pulling back reins and not focusing on his child anymore. I have never in my life seen a parent being so understanding in that respect, especially when you've got Seth, on the other hand, trying to pull this away from Sumner County and getting the FBI to roll with this case. And that's what they're wanting to do, is have the FBI literally roll with this case. And the FBI is not picking it up, and Seth is going absolutely nuts. And when Seth went up there to, he also called in, and he went up there to confront, so to speak, Chris, because Chris at his son's vigil asked him to, the olive branch, so to speak. I thought it looked like a very aggressive stance. I thought they looked like they were having a very aggressive conversation, in my opinion, from the photo that I saw, but I wasn't truly there. So was it a calm, cool, collected conversation, or was Christopher screaming in Seth's face? I truly don't know. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself and for yourself alone. I can't make that for you. I can't make it for myself. But to me, in my opinion, it appeared that that was a little more aggressive than what Chris tried to make it out to be. However, moreover, Seth at that particular vigil sat there and said, we're going to be working together to find my son. If you guys can put your BS aside, you're welcome to come aboard. If you can't put your BS aside, F off, basically, right? And some people got their panties in a wad over the way he said it. So what? I'm a blunt person. I say stuff like that all the time. And trust me, I piss a lot of people off. The way I talk to it just comes with the territory. But so what? You guys get over it. You either love me or you don't. That's the way I look at it, right? So he's putting his stuff aside, and I think he did that intentionally, and I think we didn't give him credit for it at the beginning, and I think he did that because I don't really believe that he ever thought Chris or Katie was going to work with him. And I think by him coming public and doing it the way he did it, I think it put a lot of light right on Katie and Chris to see what they would be willing to do. I even came here and said, I'm willing to put my BS aside for the sake of that boy. Why? Because I really don't believe Katie or Chris are going to actually get off their butts or do anything. What if Seth thought the same thing and said, fine, you know what? We're working together. And then he has an opportunity now to send him emails and say, this is how I want to do this. This is what I think will be beneficial. Maybe we need to get a spokesperson for the family so we can have, a united front in the same messaging and all this stuff. So he's like, okay, let's go gun-ho through this, right? Chris wants to work with us. He wants to help find Sebastian. Let's get him off this stuff. Let's tell him what we'd like to do. Let's get him on board, right? And so he sends this email saying, we want to take some search dogs here. Here's their requirements. They're FBI certified. Like the FBI can call this team in. The FBI can call this team in. And the spokesperson and some other stuff. Chris never responded. But one thing that we noticed is that Seth was like, the private eye actually spoke up and said, I do have a little concern, Mr. Proudfoot. It was either Seth or the PI. I can't remember at this point. But they said, I have a little bit of a concern because I sent an email to Katie, but you responded. And that really ticked a lot of people off because why is Katie not answering for herself? This is the mother of a missing child. This is the woman that squarely told the entire world she was the only one alone with this child when this child disappeared. And now she's run away from home twice. She is now not coming on and speaking to the public or speaking to media in any way, shape, or form. And we got doofus, Christopher Proudfoot, getting drunk and wanting to throw his weight around to a bunch of women. Is any of this helping find Sebastian? Yes and no. Because, no, it's not physically helping us find Sebastian. But yeah, I think it's putting us squarely on the people we need to look at in an effort to find Sebastian. The reason why I'm so adamant, and, maybe it's my own bias, but I have to be honest with my audience, even when it comes to my own biases, right? Because I think my audience should know. Am I biased in my reporting in some of in some of this? And I have to be honest with you. My answer is 100%. I do believe so. I believe I am absolutely biased when it comes to my reporting here, because at the end of the day, there is no actual physical evidence leading me to believe that Chris and Katie had anything to do with the disappearance of their child. However, their behavior, the circumstantial stuff that's out there, is leading me to believe that. And you know what? I'm from a legal background, and I know physical evidence and circumstantial evidence is still evidence, and it still has the same weight at trial. And I truly believe there is evidence. The lack of evidence, I think, is the most glaring piece of evidence in this case, and I'm going to continue to say that. Because let's face it, a 15-year-old high-functioning autistic child is not worried about cleaning up his scent. He's not worried about, covering up tracks. He doesn't think like that. So how does a boy that has no shoes on, walking out of the house on hard surface, not leave any better scent than what's left? It doesn't make sense. There is a place over in the construction site that is clear as day to the people that follow this kind of stuff. The scent disappeared, therefore he was loaded up and taken away. Was it willingly or was he we don't know. We just know that that's what that information tells the people that cover true crime. When you have a scent walking, and it goes to a specific area and it seemingly vanishes, and it's usually on a street or a place where a vehicle can get, it is a telltale sign that it is possible that person was loaded up into a vehicle and removed from the area. We have tread patterns, or tread patterns taken from where the dog stopped sniffing. Did they look at any of those things? We don't know. I don't like TBI. I don't like law enforcement in Tennessee, not because they're not good people. It's because I feel like their laws and their training suck. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're training their officers absolutely ass backwards. Ass backwards. There's things that they need to be looking for up front to get the probable cause up front. When they're asleep at the wheel thinking this is just a missing child, they miss a lot of the probable cause needed to get the forensics. And that is the situation we are dealing with, because Sumner County Sheriff had his thumb up his ass believing every single thing that poured out of the Proudfoots. Even though nothing was working and they were hitting their head against the wall, and still didn't bother thinking, wait a minute, maybe the Proudfoots aren't telling us the truth. And then we find out that Chris's stepsister could potentially work for Sumner County Sheriff, and our minds are just like, this case is going nowhere. Who believes that? I believe that this is going to end up going nowhere. And then I started thinking, and this is what's making me work so hard. Chris Proudfoot is not going to win. Right now, Chris Proudfoot is sitting up on his pedestal because he's been able to hide Sebastian so far. He's been able to duck, bob, and weave. Nobody knows anything. This is his work. This is his pompous ass, arrogant ass work that he's doing, and he's sitting there and he's thinking he is so smart. He is smarter than every law enforcement agency out there, because look at all the resources they put forward. The largest investigation in Hendersonville history, and they still couldn't find where Chris put him. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe that's the arrogance Chris has, is that after all of these law enforcement agencies, he's smarter than all of them. That surely does sound like the demeanor of Christopher Proudfoot, doesn't it? I truly believe it does. I truly believe he thinks he's smarter than everybody. And so far, maybe he's proved them right. I don't know. We need to be looking at those maps. Everybody needs to be scouring these maps. You need to be looking at, if we're all looking at these maps, let's look for water holes. Let's look for easy places that are remote, that only Chris or somebody in the area would know about. Let's find these places and let's get our asses out there and search high and low. If we have water people, Get your butts and your sonar in the waters. The water is a prime place. It's the easiest path of least resistance. Think about it. Pull up, go over an overpass. You have a weight, literally throw over the shoulder, throw over. It is the easiest way. The easiest, the quickest. Those waterways are important. They're very, very, very important. Desolate, wooded areas, again, another great place. Another great place. We need to find this needle in a haystack. And guys, I believe social media, as we always do, we can come through. It just takes a whole lot of us. And it takes a whole lot of us out there with our boots on the ground. So if you guys have the ability, find a section on I-40, go out there between Memphis and Hendersonville and search until your heart's content. Look at those maps, find probabilities, find easy access. This is going to be where it has to be easy, right? But we still have to take into consideration Chris has had significant hours of time unaccounted for and alone, including but not limited to February 27th when he left the home in the morning and didn't return until the evening because he had to go pick up his camper, allegedly, and according to him. Yes, he did come back with that camper. And yes, we know it's 3 hours there, 3.5 hours there, and 3.5 hours back. But we don't know what he did. And we don't know what he did on his way home. And there you have it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because these updates are sponsored by our subscribers. So if you love the work that we're doing here on TikTok and you love the work that we're doing on YouTube, please consider subscribing here. It does help us grow and it helps us get out to these areas. And we'll be going out just as soon as we can get our car up and running. We're there. We're there. And I've already got, I do have a lot of, this is another thing I haven't showed anybody yet, but it's not my work, so it's already out there. This right here, somebody put together of potential places like, we're listening to how Chris and Katie state that he walked out his door. So these are the potential paths of travel he could have taken out of his community. So I will be actually putting this theory to a test as soon as I'm out there in Hendersonville. I'm going to be looking at all of these paths of travel because you never know. We don't know what happened. Could a medical event happen? Could he have actually walked out a door and a medical event happened? Yes, anything's on the table, of course. The probability of it happening, probably not so much. But you never know because truth is truly stranger than fiction. So guys, you have an amazing Tuesday. God bless each and every one of you. Good Lord. God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out, and we will be back later today. Hopefully we don't have to go with record number 3 because I don't know what I'm going to do if I have to re-record this a third time. All right, guys. God bless. Get your butts to work. You're needed. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment for your favorite content creator. Yours truly, me.